Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to learn how school district budgets are assembled each year, the financial outlook for this upcoming school year, 2026-27, and how you can provide us with your feedback and input as we finalize the budget preparation. I'm Kathy Ludwig, the Superintendent of West Linn-Wilsonville School District, and I'm proud to work and serve in this community. The responsibility of our school district finance team is to develop a sound and balanced budget of revenue and expenditures that fulfills federal and state financial mandates and meets the mission and goals of the school district. This webinar will review who sets the overall budget and approves it, how funding is connected to the mission and goals of the district, annual revenue sources, annual expenses, the critical role of an ending fund balance, and considerations for next year and how you can provide input. Who sets the overall budget and approves it? School district budgets in Oregon are developed using the following process. Every 2 years, the governor proposes a 2-year allocation for funding K-12 schools in Oregon. This is called the State School Fund. The State Ways and Means Committee sets the final amount. Using the amount allocated by the state, every school district's finance team develops a budget proposal to bring before a school district budget committee for review and approval. Once approved by the budget committee, it is then taken to the school board for adoption prior to June 30th. The public is invited to view the budget proposal, attend all budget committee meetings, and provide comment, and attend all board meetings. This process is consistent across all public school districts in Oregon. A school district budget committee is a statutory requirement. It is made up of the school board members and an equal number of voting members from that school district's community. These volunteer community members are appointed by the school board. West Linn-Wilsonville has 5 school board members and 5 appointed community members that make up our budget committee. You can find their names listed on the district website. The first step our finance team takes to develop the budget is to roll forward the known information, the upcoming revenue estimates from the state, the current staffing and purchase service expenditures and their annual increases, and any other known reductions or increases from the prior year's finalized audit or state reconciliations. The budget development process begins in January and goes before the budget committee in May. Fiscal changes from the state often continue well into the summer and even into the new school year as estimates become finalized. Now let's look at how the school finance team collaborates with district and school leaders to align the district budget to the mission and goals of the school district. The West Linn-Wilsonville School District has a mission question that asks us to do our very best every day in discerning and creating strong learning communities for our students that foster the greatest thinking and most thoughtful people, not only for our community, but for the world. The mission question is further focused with 4 broad district goals, and the goals guide our work and importantly help determine how we will invest our resources. The district's integrated plan takes the first 2 district goals that address student learning outcomes and identifies strategies and long-term growth targets for students. The integrated plan is approved biannually by the school board. From the integrated plan, school leaders create their own work plans with more detail about their own schools, academic data, and learning outcomes. Teachers make individual classroom and course goals based on their school's work plans. Together, goals and plans are aligned and nested throughout the system. The district integrated plan and each school's work plans are available on the website for the public to review. Our strategic investments help us meet the goals set by the district and each school. They also reflect annual feedback from our community about priorities for our schools and for student learning outcomes. These investments are interconnected, providing access and opportunity for all students to experience school in a way that enhances their strengths and allows them to develop a growth mindset. Our task is to develop a budget that can sustain the quality of these investments that are interconnected and over the long term. How will we know that our mission, goals, and investments are working? We examine the evidence, both quantitative through measurable results and qualitative through feedback. Student learning outcomes vary. They may be small increments of reading level success, or larger ones like completed pieces of writing or a final research project or a semester grade for a course. Ultimately, we are working towards a rigorous and successful completion of a K-12 learning experience so that students are ready to move into their future career. Now let's move on to review how school districts receive their revenue each year. The majority of funds to Oregon school districts come from state and local sources. State funds, which is our largest revenue source, are collected through income taxes and lottery receipts. Local funds are permanent property taxes for schools and may include additional voter-approved taxes to fund either teachers, like a local option levy, or capital projects through a bond. Special state and federal grants provide supplemental funds for specific priorities. Federal grants provide supplemental funds to states for specific programs like special education and support for students experiencing poverty. You will hear more about the state grants later in this presentation. The state school fund and the local funds work together as a reciprocal funding source to ensure an equalization model of revenue to school districts. Communities that collect more permanent property taxes for schools receive less in school state funds. Communities that collect less in permanent property taxes for schools receive more in state school funds. The state then distributes funds to districts through an equity-based allocation. First, the average number of students who attend all year is calculated. This is called the ADM. Then the number is adjusted or weighted, you can see the little W, based on additional resources or support that would be needed for groups of students. This weighted system is how equity is ensured across districts in Oregon, a system of funding based on students' needs and not just the number of students. Here's a glimpse of how our students are typically represented across the district. These percentages may fluctuate slightly during the year as students enroll or move. We track and report this demographic data to the state every year. As mentioned earlier, a supplemental revenue source in Oregon are specific state grants. These grants are distributed based on the number of students and their weighted needs, meaning these grants also follow an equity-based allocation method. The High School Success Grant helps fund strategies to increase graduation rates, decrease chronic absenteeism, and expand career and technical education course options. We use these funds to hire additional counselors, additional teachers to expand course options, ninth grade success, credit recovery, and middle school transition to high school. The Student Investment Account Grant provides additional revenue to Oregon schools to address mental and behavioral health needs and close achievement gaps. Based on feedback from our community, we prioritized these funds for additional counselors, social workers, nurses, teachers to reduce class size, special education staff, school psychologists, and expanding learning options through our online academy. The Early Literacy Grant is designated towards purchasing literacy curriculum, professional development, and high-dosage tutoring and interventions for students not yet reading at grade level. Every school district may also supplement their revenue through a voter-approved local option levy. In November 2023, our community passed a renewal of the levy, which funds about 90 additional teachers and support staff in our schools. We are very grateful to our community for renewing this levy to maintain effective class sizes, provide additional learning specialists, arts and robotics programs, and STEM programs across our schools. A local community can also, through a vote by ballot, approve specific funding to a school district by passing a capital bond to assist with facility improvement projects. These bond funds are restricted to projects approved on the ballot by the voters. Full description and progress of projects identified in the November 2025 capital bond and previous bonds can be found by going to the district website and clicking on the tab Capital Bond. Because a capital bond pays for high-cost facility repairs and renovations, the general fund is able to preserve its funds for staff, programs, instruction, and daily operations. Without a capital bond, all facility expenses would compete with personnel expenses in the general fund. In other words, capital bonds help save teachers and programs. We are so grateful to our communities for our capital bonds that have kept our schools updated, safe, and secure while preserving the general fund for instructional priorities. This general fund budget at a glance page in the budget document identifies the largest sources of revenue to the school district. When the budget is adopted by June of each year, these numbers still reflect estimations and projections from the state. Changes do occur throughout the school year and are recorded in the working budget and provided to the school board at board meetings. This is why the adopted budget is always different from the actual budget conclusion that is audited at the end of every school year. Now let's review how school districts plan for expenses each year. This pie chart shows where annual expenditures typically fall. As you can see, almost 87% of our budget, and most school district budgets, go to personnel costs. The second largest area is allocated to purchased services, such as transportation, utilities, and other vendors. Very little of the budget, comparably, goes to supplies and materials. This is why, when large reductions to public school district budgets are needed, communities will see reductions in staffing in order to make up the shortfall. When staffing programs and operations, a key priority with expenditures is maintaining effective class sizes. These are our current class size ranges for our district. Even with the reductions in the 25-26 budget year, we were able to maintain almost all K-5 classrooms within these ranges. This general fund budget at a glance page in the budget document identifies the largest expenditures in school districts. West Linn-Wilsonville is no exception. As a reminder, when the budget is adopted by June of each year, these numbers are still based on best estimates. Changes do occur throughout the school year, and the school board is informed at board meetings. This is why the adopted budget is different from the actual budget that is audited at the end of each school year. We get many questions about the role of an ending fund balance and the recommended amount a district should preserve. An ending fund balance is critical for Oregon school districts to manage cash flow due to the timing of property tax collections to cover unexpected expenses and mitigate volatility in state spending. An ending fund balance allows districts to handle unexpected costs, such as emergency repairs or legal challenges or unexpected special education costs. By having reserves, school districts can cushion schools against unpredictable enrollment declines or sudden increases in costs, thus protecting student opportunities and learning. A healthy ending fund balance also demonstrates strong financial stewardship, which results in better bond ratings. This lowers interest rates for long-term projects like building or repairing school facilities. The Government Finance Officers Association recommends an unrestricted fund balance of no less than 2 months of regular operating revenues or expenditures. This is about 17% of an annual operating budget. For school districts specifically, GFOA sometimes notes that a minimum of 10% may be a more common or realistic starting point. The Oregon School Boards Association generally supports the idea that districts should maintain a fund balance between 5 and 10% of their general fund budget. The 25-26 budget adopted projected an ending fund balance of $6 million, or 4.3% of the general fund budget. More recent projections show that we may end at approximately $10 million, or 6.74%. Why does an ending fund balance change? The ending fund balance proposed in May for the upcoming year is an estimate. Throughout the year, revenue and expenditures are updated. At the end of the school year, the district reconciles all of its accounts. Savings are reflected in the ending fund balance. Lastly, we will share the budget considerations for next year. K-12 schools received $11.36 billion to fund the 25-27 biennium. 49% applied to the first year and 51% applied to the second year. Right away, this allocation split assumes that school districts only need 2% more from year 1 to year 2, when in reality, payroll benefits increases, PERS, and market inflation to goods and services is around 7% annual increase. Budgeting challenges persist, and as we are all aware, districts are making reductions to staffing and programs, and in some cases to school days. We are also needing to make reductions next year. What is the root cause of school district budget shortfalls? In short, increased costs are outpacing the revenue allocations from the state. Schools are funded based on enrollment, and enrollment is declining, while costs for operating schools and meeting students' needs are increasing. Revenue decreases because funding from the state is based on enrollment of students. Fewer students and less revenue means that staffing needs to reduce accordingly. The chart on the right demonstrates the decline in Oregon of over 37,000 students since 2019. The largest decline occurred right in the middle of the pandemic, and Oregon continues to show decline. This exodus of students to find other alternatives to public school did not course correct the following year. Additionally, national and state birth rates are falling, with Oregon having one of the lowest birth rates nationally. An updated November 2025 10-year enrollment projection conducted by Flow Analytics, a leading population analyst company, provided the school district with 3 enrollment projection scenarios. The district will continue to see enrollment decline from approximately 8,600 students this school year to potentially 7,400 in 10 years, a further decline of 1,200 students. Revenue is declining while costs are increasing. While there are annual payroll, retirement, and inflation cost increases every year, there are also costs based on legislative mandates passed in Oregon and passed on to employers, such as Paid Leave Oregon, environmental regulations, employee compensations. Liability insurance is one of the highest increases impacting schools. This leaves school districts no choice but to reduce staff and programs every year. The school district has been informing the school board, budget committee, district employees, and the school community of this fiscal outlook for several years now. In 23-24, messages were sent to the community informing about upcoming reductions that would need to be made. In 23-24, the district made very modest reductions and drew down its reserves instead. The following year, the district began to make more noticeable reductions. For the 24-25 school year, $10 million in non-personnel and personnel reductions were made. This school year, 25-26, an additional $15 million in reductions were made to personnel and operations. For the 26-27 school year, another significant reduction is needed in response to declining enrollment and increased costs. In November 2025, I informed the school board that we would need to reduce by an additional $10 million in the next budget and outlined some options. In the end, the school board accepted all of the recommendations except one, resulting in a reduction for next year of $9.5 million. The consolidation of 2 schools and the suspension of the preschool program are disheartening decisions that were needed to be made in order to preserve effective class sizes, academic programs valued by students and families, and quality of care by specialists for students' social emotional well-being and safety. What are the next steps in the process? The updated 10-year enrollment forecast and the known allocation for the second year of the biennium already identified the need to make significant reductions, and these were communicated to the school board and the community as early as November 2025, which you saw on the last slide. In May, the Budget Committee will review the proposed budget and will have 2 weeks to review it carefully and bring forward questions to district staff. The Budget Committee will deliberate in a public work session. While specific actions towards the reductions have already been made, the District and Budget Committee value public input on priorities you would like the district and school board to consider when balancing the budget with limited resources. Please take a few moments between now and April 30th to fill out a survey, letting us know your priorities or general comments. Survey results will be included in the proposed budget document to guide the Budget Committee's deliberation. As mentioned, the Budget Committee work session and all board meetings are open to the public. Thank you for listening and learning about the school district budget process, the revenue and expenditures outlook for 26-27, and how you can provide feedback. The survey can be found on the district website, and we look forward to hearing from our community. Thank you for listening, and thank you for participating.